Hello, so I'm going to be talking about the biofuel called bioethanol. So what is bioethanol? Bioethanol is a form of renewable energy made from plants. It is a direct replacement of gasoline and is a step to reducing our dependence on fossil fuels. So how is bioethanol produced? Bioethanol has three main methods: starch-based, sugar-based, or cellulose-based bioethanol production. There are a series of steps that they'll go through. So for starch is first the crop that will go through photosynthesis. The farmers will harvest that crop, and then it will go through some pre-processing. The starch will be turned into sugar, and then we will take the sugar and ferment it with yeast to convert it to ethanol. For sugar, it will just be fermented and turned into ethanol. And then for cellulose, it will have two different steps. We have either you can heat it or you can do a biochemical pre-treatment to get it from cellulose to sugar, which we will then ferment with yeast to convert it to ethanol. This fermentation is going through anaerobic cellular respiration, which is without oxygen. So how available is bioethanol today? Bioethanol is at many gas pumps. You'll see the E that stands for ethanol, and usually this is in a form of blended gas where it is part petroleum gas and part ethanol. And a few examples of these crops that bioethanol is being derived from are sugar crops like sugarcane, sugar beet, and molasses, starch crops like corn, wheat, barley, and then cellulose plants are the waste products of these crops like the crop residues or wood chips. So how does bioethanol impact the carbon footprint? So this is the carbon emission from a traditional gasoline. You see it's much larger than these two, which are from bioethanol. So this starch-based bioethanol is producing about 40% less carbon than this traditional gasoline, whereas the cellulose ethanol production is down actually 90% or more of carbon emission. And this small amount of carbon emission is actually being reabsorbed by the plants that are producing the bioethanol. So it's going through the carbon cycle and recycling this carbon. We call this a closed system. So this is going to result in less greenhouse gas emissions, which is better for our environment. So how does bioethanol impact economically? So it's impacting the farmers who are cultivating and harvesting these crops. They are making more money by this. And then also the U.S., who is producing more bioethanol, replacing the gasoline, because it's a domestic ethanol production. We are not buying from foreign countries. Therefore, we will probably reduce our gas prices and energy security will increase. So public outreach. One organization is called Sustainable Technology Solutions. They are partnered with two of the largest bioethanol producers. They're providing more innovative ways to making bioethanol more accessible to the public and having better innovative industrial processing. So a general overview of bioethanol: it's going to be decreasing of fossil fuels, helps with global warming, pollution, other environmental issues, and a plan of action is to take this cellulose-based bioethanol and use this because cellulose is we're taking that from the waste products of both the starch or sugar, which is taking trash and turning it into fuel, whereas doing the starch-based or sugar-based method is taking food into fuel. So this is better for economic investment. So our plan of action would be to invest in the enzymes that are converting cellulose to the sugar before we ferment it, and also switching all of our transportation fuels to ethanol from gasoline. Here are my works cited.